Guys, I'm making this video because I want to share with you guys why I decided to make my own version of OpenClaw. And this particular area over here was kind of like the flipping point for me. This was the point where I started to think, oh my God, fuck it. Um, and the reason why I wanted to make OpenClaw is not because of the usual reasons that you guys hear, oh, security reasons and this and that, because I know how to keep it secure. I know how to make it safe. And security is not the biggest concern of mine, but reliability is the biggest concern of mine. So for a little bit of context, right? For a little bit of context, this is what is happening in Replit right now. As you guys probably know, if you have been following me, I've been building Neo in Replit for the past 2 months now, since 28th of December. And as you can see, I've been publishing the app, but I haven't been doing a lot of changes in it. And the reason why is because Replit is great to start, and I think it's really good. But at some point, when the project scales to a point where it becomes more like bigger, things start to really kind of fall apart. So I hit a sort of plateau over here, and when it feels like there was a point where every single change, every small little change needs like 5 minutes. And I needed to be able to ship faster. And as the complexity of the project grows, there was a point where like it feels like every single new feature that I add in, I have to spend like 3 whole days debugging it. So I needed like AI, which is smarter, but Replit's agent keeps making mistakes. And it's like at the same time, they have their own internal built-in router. So what happens is that the internal built-in router would decide what kind of agent to do the work based on the difficulty of the task. So sometimes it is sending Haiku to go and do some analytical tasks, which gives us a lot of headache. Sometimes it is sending Sonnet, and very rarely, I think it is actually sending Opus because I asked it. And many times, very obvious problems were sort of easily solved problems were actually send it down a rabbit hole. So like I thought to myself, like I needed a different way. I needed a better way of, doing this. And so this whole OpenClaw thing, when it exploded into the scene, I thought to myself, perhaps I can have OpenClaw help me with this, because rather than paying Replit, which sometimes based on the official documentation, it's charging me anywhere between 3 to 10 times more margin compared to what Anthropic charges them. Maybe I thought to myself, okay, maybe I'm gonna pay Anthropic myself, and maybe I can use OpenClaw for coding. So here's the good thing about OpenClaw, okay? A lot of times when people hear me talk about OpenClaw, they think that I am complaining about OpenClaw. I'm not. I'm simply pointing out my experience of it, and I'm pointing out what I know to be its strength and what I know to be its limitations. So here is some of the strength. When I started using OpenClaw for coding tasks, right, I find that it is a very pleasant experience. In fact, if I were to plug in Codex, I would plug in Codex, I would let it run. I would use Codex ChatGPT auth, which saves me a lot of money. And I would just kind of like have this conversation, this window right here on the left side, and I would have my Replit on the middle. I would still pay my monthly subscriptions to Replit, but at the same time, I would sort of just pull stuff from. I would get OpenClaw to push things into my GitHub. I would pull stuff from the GitHub from Replit, and I can test it inside the preview environment over there. It's a very nice workflow. And many times when I use Codex, right, I find that Codex was able to debug issues for me 10 times faster than Sonnet, which is the main agent, which is the main AI that Replit uses, Sonnet 4.5. So and debugs are actually pretty much one shot. Like I would tell Lumen over here, which is OpenClaw, what is the problem. I was to share some screenshot, and it was able to be like within 2 or 3 iterations get it right. Replit, no, the complete nightmare. So the coding was actually very efficient and very satisfying, very easy to use. And at the same time, if I had any sort of like customer service issues that I need to fix, I can actually come over here and say something like, hey, go to X user's account, email, whatever, and find out for me like conversation of like look for me and something like look through their conversation, and I'll put like meeting ID or chat ID. And I would ask my client to just or my customer to just give me the URL. I paste it in there, and the OpenClaw would actually go into my Supabase account, right? Because it has the MCP integration with Supabase. It would go in there and it would just look through the entire chat history. And Replit can do that too, but a lot slower. OpenClaw was a lot faster. And if I wanted to have, if I wanted to give somebody like as an apology, and sometimes we have bugs, right? And we'll say, okay, I want to give you like 2,000 free Neo credits as a like to as like for your trouble, for your experience. I can actually just tell OpenClaw to do it for me. And not only is OpenClaw living over here, it is also living in WhatsApp. It's also living in inside the Telegram. I can voice note anywhere, Discord, whatever. I actually even have a dedicated server where I was experimenting with doing certain things. The problem is that I'm not going to talk about the obvious problem. The obvious problem is like security, blah, 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 expensive, it's the cost, whatever not, blah, blah, blah. I know, I've experienced all that. In fact, in the first day I was using OpenClaw, I plugged in Opus and we set up, like, I would tell it, okay, look, we need to make it like this. I don't want to have to keep telling you that I want you to switch to Haiku now, or I want to switch to this, or I want to switch to that. So let's create a system. And then OpenClaw will be very happily obliging me and say, okay, let's create a system whereby every time you need to do something, automatically I would tell you, okay, we're going to switch to this particular model for this and that particular model for that. So we installed the entire thing. We built a whole skill around it. And then I found out later on, after one whole day, that it didn't follow instruction. It would tell me that it is sending Kimi K2 2.5 to fix this issue. And then I found out after the fact that it didn't use Kimi K2.5, it was actually fixing it himself. So Opus would just sort of dominate everything. And I don't think it's a model. I don't think it's a model problem because almost all the models are behaving this way. I think it's a sort of guardrail issue. And my API cost blew up to $200 in a single afternoon. So that was like the first thing. The second thing is that I try to build certain some other guardrails in place because I find that one of the things that is really cool about OpenClaw was the ability to create sub-agents. And at that point in time, I haven't started using Claude Code yet. So I started from Replit, so now I was using OpenClaw. And so it's like, I wanted to figure out maybe that we can cram out the workflow where we don't need OpenClaw, the main OpenClaw, to be doing all the work. We can have the main OpenClaw spawn other OpenClaws to do the work, while the main OpenClaw just orchestrate and coordinate so that it doesn't lose context, you see. So I wanted to do that, and we keep trying, and that didn't work. And I thought, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm giving it too difficult of a job. Let's do a very, very simple work. Let's do a cron job. Let's do so OpenClaw has this heartbeat thing, right, where you are able to just telling, okay, every half an hour do this, every half an hour do that. Let me tell you, for 3 days, we tried to figure that out. For 3 days, we tried to troubleshoot how to do that. FYI, my setup does not rely on me setting up a mini-map, Apple, mini-map over here. Mine is on a VPS. And for some reason, until this day, OpenClaw couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure it out. All I asked was a very simple thing. Every 30 minutes, ping me with the status of your task. I want to give you a very long task, and every 30 minutes, ping me with the status of the task. It failed to do so. And then after that, we tried 5 minutes. It failed to do so. Out of the 20 attempts that we did, right, about 20 attempts, we only succeeded twice. And the twice one was it just succeeded at pinging me it did not succeed at actually doing the task in the background. So what I wanted was, hey, get to work on this task, and every 5 minutes you ping me on the status of this task. It wasn't able to do so. After a while, I just sort of given up. And I thought to myself, you know what, maybe just OpenClaw, we can just use it for the very basic things, no need to be so ambitious. And finally, we came to this point where it's like this conversation came about. As you can see, hey, you there? Hey. This was the moment where it really tipped things over for me. This was like my third installation at this point in time. This was the third installation of OpenClaw for me. And the first 2 times was the first generation of the OpenClaw that I did. Apparently, it can't use. There is some problem with root and homebrew issues. If you don't know what that is, it's fine. I don't know what that is too, but basically homebrew is a sort of dependency thing where you need to install homebrew in order to get access to all the amazing OpenClaw powers that everyone has been lauding on about, right? So it installed as root, and then later on I found out that in order for it to access homebrew, it got to be installed as non-root, so we have to reinstall the second time. And then after the second time, we keep talking for a while, and then we broke connection. It just completely ghosted me. And then I have to go through the very painful experience of talking with ChatGPT, sending screenshot. This is what happened. ChatGPT says, open terminal. All right, copy this code, paste this command. And like 90% of the command that I pasted, I don't understand what the hell was going on. So this was the third installation. I thought to myself, okay, finally, this is it. We don't ever have to deal with any shit ever again. I don't want to have to look at the CLI. I don't want to do anything like that anymore, ever again. And then this happened. We were doing something. I can't even remember what we were doing. Oh, there you go. We were figuring out how to set up the damn timer. All right. So it's like, okay, option A, option B. We were, at this point, it was like we have been troubleshooting this the whole morning. I was getting very exhausted. So it's like, I can run OpenClaw now. Please reply, do it. Okay, do it. Okay, OpenClaw doctor found this one. And then after that, I was like, okay, I was pointing out some logical inconsistency over here, and they keep giving me like, here's another fix, didn't work. That's another fix, it didn't work. So apparently, it is very good at coding Neo, but it doesn't know how to fix itself. So I keep going on back and forth. You can't like do it. Do it is my code word. Do it means do. Don't like, my OpenClaw has been trained to such a point where unless I say do it, it won't actually do it. So I have to keep saying do it. And then at some point it says, okay, manual merge from sync from root to non-root, but Docker still sees 2 state directories. So at this point I was like, because there was like 2 other OpenClaws before this OpenClaw, and there was a lot of instructions given to the first Open. I don't want to waste that work. I said, okay, drop all of that stuff. We're gonna merge thing and we're gonna keep it simple. I give up on the cron job. So finally it says, okay, over here, manual merge done. And I say the next step to complete the migration is to stop root OpenClaw, start non-root OpenClaw, so it uses /home/ blah, blah, blah. Do you want me to stop the root gateway and restart it under, say, do it? And then I thought to myself, if you're going to stop, then what if we lose contact? Then it says, okay, there'll be a brief disconnect while the gateway restarts under the non-root user. You should come back within 5 to 10 seconds. If you're okay with that, say, do it. So then I point out the pain point again. What I'm worried about is something going wrong and I have to rely on ChatGPT reset things. If it's only 5 to 10 seconds, not a problem. But what if something went wrong? Valid worry. Here's the safety net. If it doesn't come back, number 1, number 2, number 3, do this. And then, so here you already point out something really stupid. If it doesn't come back, I can restore from the backups you just made. But dude, you're not going to be here to help me do this. So you gave me some command. If you need the single recovery command, here is the one command fallback. Sudo OpenClaw gateway start. This will restore blah, blah, blah. I said, do it. And then after, as you can see, about 1 hour later, right? I sent that 3:15. 1 hour later, I came back. I said, hey, you there? Silence. Cricket. Hey, crickets. Hey, crickets. And you can see this is on the 5th of February. It wasn't until 6th of February, 11 p.m., 1.5 days later, that I finally managed to get it working again. And it says, OpenClaw access not configured. Your user ID, pairing code, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God. So yeah, this is the problem. And ever since then, it's just everything just keeps getting downhill. On contrast, however, let me show you what is happening with my other bot. So it was around this point where I was introduced because my friend kept saying, "Dude, why are you trying to play this game the hard mode? Like just use Claude Code." I'm like, fine. Let's just try Claude Code for now and all this while, Claude Code has always been intimidating to me because Claude Code is, terminal, CLI, whatever. I don't have any technical background. But I thought to myself, what's the harm in that? So at first I hit up the Claude Code app, and then I tried it, and it was like, okay, that's a much more pleasant experience. There is a plan mode, there is a build mode. So which means that the AI won't go and kill itself because it was stupid. And on top of that, I was able to safely use my Claude Code subscription, which means that the cost is significantly lesser, right? So for those of you who don't know, $2,200 per month Claude Max is approximately around it is worth around $3K US dollars in credits if you fully maximize its usage. So it is very, very cheap. So I was looking through I was going through CLI and everything, and it says, hey, you know what? A friend of mine says there are things that the app can do that the local version can't do, and then there are things that the local version can do that the app can't do. So I tried using the CLI. Man, I'm hooked, honestly, because if I install it on my computer instead of the cloud, it is able to control things on my computer, right? Right now, my Claude Code, I have been putting in a lot of time, a lot of effort. First, basically, Claude Code is cheap, and at the same time, it is safe, and at the same time, you can use Anthropic. The only problem is that it has a lot of memory issues. It keeps forgetting things. So what I told it was, okay, look, I'm gonna, one of the first things was I installed the VS Code. So this is no longer the CLI, this is under VS Code, which is nicer interface. And instead of the typical terminal style kind of aesthetics, I do something like that. It's just a lot more easy it's still a lot of words, still a lot of blocking, but much better. So the first thing first is I asked it to go and download OpenClaw. After I download OpenClaw, I've been listening to a lot of different creators who are creating their own versions of OpenClaw, their agent swarms architecture. So I don't know code, but I understand how things work. I can see things from a big picture, structurally speaking, systemically speaking. So I understand architecture. I just don't understand code. And so some of you coders out there may be laughing at me, I don't know. But at least this is what I believe where I am right now. I think I at least understand architecture. So when the AI is about to propose something really stupid, I'm able to actually tell that it's actually a stupid thing. And I'm able to question it back. So after my Claude Code has downloaded the entire OpenClaw code, I asked it to rip it apart. Like, what are all of the different features that OpenClaw have? What can OpenClaw do that you can't do? And then we systematically add one by one. Right? There are like 43 items it came about. But the biggest problem that we faced was actually persistent memory. So the persistent memory thing is a big weakness that Claude Code has. Persistent memory is something that OpenClaw has that Claude Code doesn't have. So the first thing we did was we built the entire memory architecture inside Claude Code itself. So it is able to remember my instructions. So it's actually able to remember my preferences and all of the different things, my protocols and stuff like that. So from that, we created the base of it. And we have come a very long way since then. I can now claim that my Claude Code clone, my Claude Code OpenClaw clone, is actually, how should I say? Is able to do whatever the OpenClaw can do, but more. it's actually able to do more, right? One of the examples is like over here, right? Tonight we are building this, and we are planning this right now. What is happening over here is the construction of an agentic swarm. So it is not a very ambitious agent swarm. So we are not going to do something crazy like 30 agents running all at once. I don't think I'll be able to catch it if something went wrong like that. Too dangerous for me. My risk appetite is not that big. But we are going to create like a corporation inside my Claude Code itself. So let me see if I can pull it. This is the companion app that I'm building to work with Claude Code. And the way this works, right? Well, I'm going to move my head down a little bit. So the way this works, you can see this orbital thing. It is not fully developed yet. I'm going to try to explain what is going on over here. But basically, what is happening is that we're going to have like a CEO structure. So let me see if I can have it explain for itself. All right, it is explaining right now. So I asked it to explain new harness architecture that we're building. So the main problem that we are trying to solve, Opus is saying that it's expensive and burn through working memory fast. It's not so much of it's expensive because right now we are using Anthropic, the subscription. The problem that I'm facing is that when the AI that I'm talking to is actually working on the code itself, it will burn through its context window very fast. So when it burns through the context window very fast, what happens is that it starts to forget the nuances, starts to forget the details of the things that we discuss, right? So instead of trying to one person handle everything, I want my agent, which is this guy over here, to manage one other agent. And that one other agent is going to be the coordinator agent, right? The coordinator agent is basically the COO of my operation. And this guy that I'm talking to, that's my CEO. I am the investor. He's my CEO. The guy under him is the COO. And what this guy does, he only has one job. He's not allowed to touch code. He's not allowed to change code. The only thing that the coordinator can do is to delegate tasks. And the reason why that happened is precisely the reason why OpenClaw failed. If you recall earlier when I talked about OpenClaw, I asked it to delegate something to something else, to a sub-agent. Instead of delegating to sub-agent, it actually literally assumed the task for itself and then lied to me that it says that, okay, you already delegated. And I found out later that, hey, it didn't delegate. So it burns through a lot of context. It forgets stuff all the time. So what happens over here, this mechanism is created to solve specifically that problem. So like this guy that I'm talking to in the screen right now, right? This guy that I'm seeing right now, his only job is to talk to me. His only job is to manage me, to remember my preferences, to remember what my instructions, to remember exactly what I'm asking for. And so that whenever the content compression happens and whatever, if something went wrong, I'm able to easily like say, okay, you've forgotten this, you've forgotten that. And then the coordinator behind him or below him, right? That coordinator also not allowed to touch code. The same like this guy over here, not allowed to touch code. The coordinator below him is only able to delegate. He's able to spawn more Claude Code agents. He's able to spawn the builder agent, the investigator agent, the auditor agent, the monitor agent. Why is this important? It's important because when one AI is trying to do too many tasks at once, the quality degrades a lot. Okay. So what this guy does, this coordinator does, is that, okay, before it actually go and sort of do anything, it would send the investigator first. Okay, so if the investigator is meant to just read the code, he will send haiku. If the investigator is meant to analyze code, he will send opus. And this is like pre-built. So even the coordinator don't actually have to make a lot of judgment call, a lot of decision call at that point of decision. It only needs to decide, okay, what task is this? It already has an SOP. This task do this task do that. So it requires very little intelligence. And that's a good thing. You don't want the AI to have to constantly strain its intelligence and its compute. The less you can make the AI work to accomplish the task that you want, the better. So the investigator, right, is going to go and figure out, okay, what, like, what needs to change, what files are going to be touched, and then it's going to report back to the coordinator. The coordinator then dispatches the builders. The builders will go and if let's say the changes are very simple, Opus decides the coordinator will tell the builder, okay, go and change this code, that code over here, will structure minimal judgment call. It will sense on it. If it decides that it's going to be something complex that it needs to see, it needs to dig deeper in order to make certain judgment call, you send Opus. So then after the builder is going to go and get to work. Once the builder gets to work, go and finish all of that, he's going to report back to the coordinator, says, we're done. And then a hook gets fired. So it's mechanical. It's not by choice. Okay. It is not dependent on the prompt. We've gone down that road. Only beginners now will keep saying, oh, it's because your prompt is not specific enough. Only beginners will say that. If you really dive deep into this, you know that prompt alone doesn't work. AI will hallucinate. You cannot let the AI make big decision calls like that. So it's like fully mechanical. A hook gets fired that forces the coordinator to send an auditor. So the auditor is gonna go in, always Opus, to go and look at all the work that has been done. And doing it this way, right, actually saves token. Reason why is because of whatever I told you about Replit just now. Replit make bad judgment calls, and so it thinks that the job is done. It is not done. And in the end, every new feature we add, we had to like spend 3 days troubleshooting it. 3 days is a lot of API costs, right? When we do it this way, every new feature that we ship is like, it takes only a few hours. So today, this morning, I woke up, I decided to give Neo the ability to make image generation and give Neo the ability to see images. And we are able to ship it by 2 p.m. in the afternoon. It was amazing, right? We would never have been able to do that with Replit and with the single tier kind of architecture. So, and then once the auditor is done, right, automatically a hook also gets fired. The auditor reported back to the coordinator, and the coordinator it's gonna say, okay, we gotta push to GitHub now. So all of these things is entirely enforced mechanically. And so here the key insight is rules only work if they are enforced mechanically at the moment a decision is made. Rules that depend on AI, remember to follow them, always fail eventually. I've gone down that rabbit hole for so many times the past 2 months that it has been burned and baked into my own memory. It is very, very painful. So over here, what we are doing is we are adding a new layer on top of that. So rather than just whatever you saw just now, we want the ability to do multi-parallel work together. So one coordinator would handle one feature, another coordinator would handle another feature, and we've been doing that. And I started on that project at 7 p.m. today, and around 10. We are almost already done. And for the most part, it is able to actually audit the code for me and test the code for me because it actually has certain endpoints that it does in behind the scenes. So I personally haven't tested this yet, but so far over the past few weeks that I've been using Claude Code, the experience has been really, really good. So I don't think there's gonna be a lot of problem. If it is, I'm pretty sure that we're gonna fix it. Anyway, I just want to share, like, this is the kind of things that we have been up to. Now, coming back to this one, right? Why did I show you this one? I show you this one is because imagine, like, you see this orbit 3D thing. So one of the biggest problems about running a business is context management, like cognition. You have to remember so many things, right? And part of the reason why I was so drawn to OpenClaw is because I realized that we actually don't need all these many different, different chats over here, like many different chats, right? So we actually don't need all of that. We only need like one. So it's kind of like a little bit. Oh, it's stuck already. It's still been working on. So so what we want to do really in the end of the day is to make sure that we have our head, or we have we have the pulse on the ground, or we know what is happening. So when I started using OpenClaw, right, I find that, okay, I actually don't have to manage so many different things, so many different tabs. I can just talk to this guy. And I want to replicate the same experience with Neo as well. I want the same, and before Neo can come up, I'm replicating the same experience over here. So when we do it this way, I want to come up with like a even simpler way of installing Claude Code, because right now, if you want to install Claude Code, you have to go into a CLI, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to click many different buttons. I am creating like a one-click installer. So it's not whatever you saw just now, like it's like a preview that I am able to design the user interface on. So it's like you guys see the orbital thing, right? It is still like, I just started on it, so it's still buggy. I haven't yet like worked through the bugs, but that part over there, imagine you at the center, and then you can see a visual representation of different facets of your business. So imagine that, right? So imagine that you can have like this node, and this node is for marketing, that node is for delivery, this node is for this node is for that. And every single one of it is like connected to, I don't know, your GA shell, your system, your mailing system, or your ads, your Stripe account. And you're able to, at any point in time, right, like talk to the agent that is responsible for that thing. And I know the word agent has been overused to shit. A lot of these AI bros, before OpenClaw came out, they keep claiming that their stuff is agentic. They're not. So right now we are actually seeing real agents, and I just showed you what is happening there. So imagine you are able to like just set, like put something there and just set it on autopilot, like literally autopilot, read true autopilot, not just say autopilot, like truly autopilot. And you are just in the loop to approve things and like edit things. I know this is possible because we have finally reached a point where, okay, like the AI can one shot the email and I'm happy with it. The AI can one shot some content and I'm happy with it. We just need like an AI and artificial intelligence that really work reliably, that will not like abandon you in the middle of a campaign, that you suddenly do not know, hey, hello, nobody is listening. That is not gonna suddenly increase your ad budget by 5,000 per day when you set it $50 a day. You know, that's not gonna burn your house down when you go to sleep. We need an agent which is reliable and trustworthy. So I am building that right now with Neo, but before Neo is like fully reached its final form, I'm using this one, like the Claude Code companion, or the Claude Code extension that I'm using over here, to do something that is similar. So I'm building the infrastructure to build the thing, because Neo is gonna be a monster. In order to build that monster, I need to create this one first. So those of you who are here, you guys can come along for the ride. You can have a copy of this thing that I built in my process of building Neo. So if you're interested in all of that, I am actually gonna come up with a class on how to set this up, or how I set this up. It's gonna be a big picture. There's a lot of details in there, so I'm not gonna go through it. I'm gonna give like overview. And if you want a copy so that you don't even have to go through whatever I had to go through to build this thing, you can. And I'm gonna be doing that for the members of AI Client Factory starting next month, around the middle of next month. So if you're interested, let me know down in the comments, and I will send you details about the AI Client Factory. That is all for now. I'll see you next time.